industrial sites, working tone, granite side, light on, you name it. You went to Blawayo, the industries and factories, they were functioning well. But from that period up to now, you will notice that the industries are totally dead and collapsed. There is nothing to talk about. And now, because the people need to survive, the people need to feed their families. That's why they are now flocking into the streets. That's why they are now doing things like Mshika Shika and like it's survival. People are struggling to survive. People are struggling to make ends meet. Now, when somebody is saying we want order, we want cleanliness, the first question that we must ask is when you are looking at a human being doing whatever that human being is doing, whether she is somebody who is a prostitute or whatever, does your conscience tell you or ask you why is that person doing that? What drives people to do that? Are they doing it like somebody is asking? Are they doing it out of pleasure? Do people just go and start vending at night and start vending in the streets, start roasting maize cobs in the streets? All these things were not happening, but these things they've started to emerge because the people are miserable, people are suffering, there's nothing to do. Now, when people are doing these things, we now start to punish them. Like somebody was saying, those who are in power, they want clean streets so that they can travel with their good cars and the like. They look at human beings and they see dirty that must be cleansed. You see, human beings are not like poo, which we simply say, can somebody go and flush the toilet? You see, we need to be thinking, we need to be asking ourselves, what has brought us to this situation? Why is this country collapsed? Why is the economic club collapsed? Why are we not having a working currency? All these things come back to governance. If we do not have a governance, if we do not have a proper government which functions, a government which is led by people who think, people who have got order, then at the end of the day, we start to have a crisis. Right now, all these things, they are rising because of the 31 March of the Gaza thing. They now start to move around, run around, because they know if they allow the situation to continue like it is, and 31 March comes and people start to do protests and the like, it will be difficult to manage. So they want those streets cleared in advance. And they think we are stupid. They think we do not see where this whole thing is coming from. They plan, they sit down to try to put a stop to a certain problem. It's like someone was saying, you are stitching the anus because you have diarrhea. We need to retrospect. We need to ask ourselves what is wrong with the Zimbabwean economy. What is wrong with our situation? You are stitching the anus because of diarrhea. The next thing is the crisis that you are going to create. You're creating a time bomb. We have simply reset the time that it does not explode at a certain point, but definitely it will explode at a future point. So my plea to the government, not to the government as such, to those vendors in government, they must first legalize themselves. They must first become legalized. They must first start to operate as a government of the people, for the people. Not like what Sino was saying. You go about with the people, say vendors for EG, Bava for EG. Now you turn around because you are now in power. You are extending something to 2030. You're now saying those people, they must be moved away to this place. Where is this a place to talk about? There is no this a place to talk about. I have been in Harare. Just I know what the strain is on the ground. They are not this a place to talk about. They are just lying. They're just talking nonsense. So the issue is they must have order themselves first. Ask the people. The people have got solutions. We all have solutions, but if we have a humble government which says, guys, what can we do to solve this problem? Instead of just hammering out things, issuing executive orders, giving orders to be punitive to the people, that's not the way to go, guys. The government must be humble. If it is not humble, like what Gesa said, it will have to go. One way or another, that same government will have to go because it is a rogue government. Thank you.
I'm gonna say, guys, let's not be mad about this move. Me, what I'm feeling is that now when they have cleaned all the streets and everybody has gone home and they are now really faced with what they have to do. They need to go home and organize and be able to do what they need to do to free themselves from oppression. So they need to go home. Let them go home, organize to free themselves. Because I think the longer they're allowed to be vending and all that stuff, I understand this is how they feed themselves every day. I get it. I understand it. But this is where they're becoming comfortable with vending and not thinking about freeing themselves from vending. So they need to go home, organize, and figure out how to free themselves from oppression? Are they going to be hungry? Are they going to be a burden to me that I'll be going to Western Union all the time? Most likely. Are they going to die and we have to bury them? Most likely. But there's one thing, they are going to think about how to free themselves. So I'm excited about this. Let's see how it works. Let's see how it works. Maybe this is the signal that will make them do what they need to do. This will be the signal. Ngazvitiwe. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, we just hope that we are civil people who can differ, but with respect. Yeah, we know that people can be angry. It's understandable, but the fact is, are they legal or illegal? These people that needs to be moved. If they're illegal, yes, there's a reason why the government should do so. Because we must live in a society where there are rules and bylaws that are being observed. But however, our reality says that there's so much unemployment, and some of the vending was also a result of our own policies when we encourage people to do venting. I remember the days of First Lady Dr. Grace Mugabe, who actually encouraged vendors to be in the streets. So that proliferation started way back, not now. So it's very difficult to contain and to control. But anyway, as a government, it has to act, and I think it has some reasons for it. One of which is that they've been smuggled goods, they've been substandard goods, they've been a lot of things happening. There are actually people who were arrested for selling expired products. So that night vending is actually a health hazard to those who are buying and to the general population. So these are some of the things that causes diseases like cholera, typhoid, and all these things. So the government, when it takes this decision, is looking also into all these things, and also how prone it is for people to be selling illegal things like mtoriro at night, because there's no one to regulate when they are selling. So look at the government in those eyes. If you look at the government as a tyrant, as something against the people, then you are bound to conclude the way you like. And you see, if it was maybe motivated by the impending protests, perhaps the government wouldn't want to anger people more, because obviously it's going to anger some people. If there's a protest, those people have a reason to protest. So the government governs whether there's challenges or not. This is a reality of the matter. And also, you must look at vendors. And if I was there in the position of authority, I will start by doing my own intelligence and assess why there is so much proliferation of vending. For example, in the clothing industry along um, Leopold Takawira Street in front of Bata, you would see that those people who are selling in front of Bata, some of them they have shops around Bata, but they prefer to, after sowing what they are sowing in their shops, they take it outside and sell in front of Bata. So the government should also encourage people to use the shops that they are renting, or they are the space to sell their things. If they see that they can't market or sell because their shops are in the background, they should find somewhere where they can people can easily access those products. So it's something that needs a holistic approach, health wise, also in terms of okay situation and stuff like that. But I don't really think that okay will be affected by people selling bananas and tomatoes in front of it. But those things normally they are recycling things that are already rotten. So that's a health hazard, and the government has to act. Why people are doing night vending? I think you can all see the reason why. Most of it is to sell expired goods. I also quickly want to run to the issue of Superman 10 that you introduced earlier on. I hear you saying it's very silly. You see, the thing is, you binarize it into what examples he gave, and you want to zero on the examples only. It's an example. He's saying it's better to use this money for something profitable, and I don't think he's saying the kids should work the farm. Where we come from, the schools that we came from, myself, I learned at Catholic school in Masvingo. There was a farm for the school. It was functional. We went there for practicals when we were doing agriculture. Some people were doing woodwork. They will also go to do woodwork. Some were doing building. They go and do some building there. we can do this, and the school was employing some staff to do farming. We go there for practicals. So this thing is just natural, it can happen. And you know what, we're not buying cabbages because we had a farm. The school was farming those cabbages. So it's something that is very reasonable. But of course, there may be a need for transport for schools. But this fetish of just wanting a bus, sometimes the school does not even participate in sports. So you just see that this desire to just burden parents to say pay levies for
All right.
this should also be something that is should be considered. And to just some of there's a university called the best university, I think is Harvard. Uh, they've got an endowment of over 2 trillion. This is money that they've generated through trading, the funds that they generate. So it's not a new thing. And you see Chinese, we praise Chinese kids when we see them holding laptops. And you laugh at us when you are studying a locust. Now the government is saying, bring in these practical things and start doing it at a lower level.
All
You
right.
start crying again. So I don't know what we want. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, homeboy. Can you hear me? I understand what the government is trying to say, but to be honest enough, if yesterday, yes, they were not allowed to be doing that, but if they were doing it, honest enough, common sense wise, you don't come in and just say, do it. I think what the government should have said, they should have said, we are going to be moving people out, from these locations to certain areas and build and promise to build best areas for them, not just to say do it. Even in loja chairo Mr. Hulu awungoriuzi ukuthi mangwana unobuda panapa. You don't do that. You give people time. We know how difficult our country is. Whoever announced this that by 48 hours it's wrong. It is wrong. That's where I'll end. I won't say much as much as I know what I want to say, but I'll reserve my comment as someone who travels a lot. Thank you.
Firstly, I would like to say I sympathize with the people that are losing, a quote unquote, losing a form of livelihood. But there's a few things to look at also. That the cost of doing the right thing the wrong way is exactly what we're facing now. I feel like the people are in a quagmire, a position where their plight is used politically. The city has watched this grow around the city. Instead of bringing solutions to these people and housing them in a place where they can be effective as entrepreneurs, they failed to do that. And I think they've done that to pick a position where if you want to mess with the people, central government must do it. We're not going to do anything, and it's for political expediency. I mean, these vendors are positioned not to their own making in spaces where other people are paying rates, in front of shops where rent is being paid, rates are being paid to maintain, quote unquote, maintain those places. And the city doesn't take that money to maintain those places. The city does not take those rates to develop new places where they can put people who have got entrepreneurship ambitions, like these vendors, so that they've got a secure place, a clean place to work from. This is the cost of doing the wrong things. We end up shouting at the government. Trust me, there is communication that goes from central government to the city about the state of the cities. And because there's political tension and juxtapositioning, these cities do not want to do anything to make the lives of their citizens a better place, a better existence to be in. They use this for politics. They would want the government, central government, to challenge the people, knowing that there's already tension in the air politically. But the law is the law, guys. There are other people that are running businesses, investing money in opening shops. They also expect protection from the powers that be. Though it seems selling tomatoes on a card box gives you an upper hand to the person that has got shelves in brick and mortar, both those people need the protection of the government. They need the law to work for them so that their existence is worthwhile.
All
So we
right.
need to clean up. We need to clean up our politics. We need to make sure that we're being effective for the citizen, both the okay and the vendor. The vendor deserves a place to sell their stuff. Yes, the 48 hours for me is unreasonable, but trust me, communication goes back and forth between central government and local authority to fix the cities until the government has to come heavy handed. And who suffers? It's the common man. The cost of doing the wrong things is what we're looking at right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. See, it's times like this where it's such an honor to be a woman. When you talk about the vendors right now, right? It's unfortunate what's happening. It's wrong by any standards. I like what Paivapo said. The 24 hours is not right. It's not right at all, whichever way you want to look at it. Because for people to start becoming vendors is for livelihood. They want to survive, right? They want to live. Don't act like you're giving them any sort of benefits or any sort of support. They have to go out there, farm their products, then bring it, right? All these travel costs, all this, they see it themselves. And then they see a place like Toti, okay, okay, ma, okay, and it. But I'm using that as an example. You know that people frequent a certain area. It is human nature and its business model to go where people go to. And they have seen kuti kwa Harare kunofambwa nevanhu. So of course they're gonna go where they're gonna be. You're talking about their businesses that are there. It's the business model that you go where the people frequent so that you have any hope of them buying your tomatoes, your oranges, whatever it is that you're selling. And remember that some of them even sell these things at a lower price because they're trying to compete as well. You know, so it's not even that, even though they're selling the best oranges or the best tomatoes, don't even get the best amount of money for their produce because it's a competitive market. And the government doesn't do anything to support people who've got these the entrepreneur skills or abilities, because that's what they are. These are sole traders who, despite the economy and how bad things are in our country, have said to themselves that I will not steal, I will not kill, I will grow these things, I will buy them wherever I buy them, and then I'm gonna go here and sell them so that I continue to make a living, continue to be able to feed my family, continue to have school fees for the children. Let's not run away from that and act like these people are crazy for doing that, what they're doing. Do you think that they want to do this? Do you think that they want to live like this? Right? Have you forgotten that we've got graduates from universities who are now vendors, right? With a whole degree. Someone could not find a job which goes with the degree that they studied at university and have a job, and they became vendors. Look at the lives of these people, where they're coming from. Don't just look at them as, oh, they're non-entities, and then you start to say the one who's opened a store or a building. First of all, you have to understand crocodile. I mean, what do you expect from crocodiles? You know, I mean, what do you expect? It's all in his name. No empathy, no kindness, no heart, right? It's all about biting, kungoruma, kuraya, stealing, killing. If anything, he is the person who's stealing and killing by saying such stupid statements about people who are vendors, who are actually selling something so that they can make a profit. And if he does not understand that, then he shouldn't be in the position that he is. And this is another problem that we're having, Hulu. We've got the wrong people in office, the wrong people who are heartless, people who think about making money above looking after people. Because I want a country as Zimbabwe, which is clean as well. And I believe Kudam Sasiwa might be listening, Pamekuma, other listeners. He's always spoken about how it's unhygienic as well. Because let's think about these things, right? You have a situation where munhu ari kutengesa chibage madira andineta chibage chakagochwa unozwa hulu, but necovid yakazouya, we now know that you need to sanitize. It's not as healthy. Do you get what I mean? It's not safe. So there are all these other things that, and I would have loved a situation where he comes with that type of argument than to say that these people are thieves, these people are criminals. That's the wrong way to get people on your side. You don't come with an aggression. You come with a way, yekuti, oh, health, oh, we also, not just that, shelter. We want to give you guys, we're allocating this area for the vendors to come. You've got a place. You don't just remove people like they're non-entities, like they're nothing. Remember some of these Garwe who you're saying said these words. I bet you mine baba wake wanga vari vendors. You never know. Kana uti sekuru wake great grandfather. We all have come from somewhere. Someone in our bloodline, in our lives, in our families, had this type of job. And they put some of us kuchkoro. Urukunzwisisa zvandotaura hulu. We should not disrespect humble beginnings or when people are trying to do something. If anything, you're supposed to help to lift them up because they're showing you that they're not a nuisance. They shouldn't be called a nuisance. You should respect them. Give them a place where they can actually do what they're doing. Kuri safer. Kwekuti muruguti, all right, you're trying to clean up. Fair enough. But take them somewhere else. Don't just shut them out. And I'll even go as further as adding this before I land. Even uyu unonzi chiko kumbari kuya kuya. I suspect kuti fire yaya inakungoitika yega ulu. For the longest time, there was a whole cleanup thing about Mbare needs to be cleaned up, Mbare needs to be whatever. And then all of a sudden, one day, kwangoita moto. What was the fire report with regards to that? I actually think it could have been arson. And why would it be? Because the best way you can remove people ku create something like that. Motanga kuita okay muri kuya uzovabatsira, but in actual fact muri kuunza ma business people ma plans enyu. Muchishanza kuti aiwa pakaitika kafire saka there's no choice, we have to do this now because people have been fighting back. So I'll put that out there, right? I don't have the evidence or whatever, but the timing of it all, it's just suspect. And the way in which they're trying to do this thing, you're going to move around just like that. And also, guys, think about the leaders you're choosing. Just because someone comes with under the political party of someone you like, you are not Zaniko, you Mayor Mafume. He came under the yellow jacket, did he not? Look at what he's doing. Let's make it make sense. I think we really need to introspect. We need to think about these things. And we actually need to remove Vano. There has to be a way of removing these people. Don't wait for 5 years. Kuti dzipere. Kana munhu achiita zvinhu zvakadai zviri heartless, remove them. If they're incapable of thinking about the general
Yeah.
good, then they're not fit for purpose. I'll end there for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'll make my presentation from the head rather than from the emotion. For me, Hulu, anyone who tampers around with vendors does not understand built environment and cities and how cities work, right? Cities work because of the very people that are being tampered around with. Or, yes, of course, organizing them is a good thing, but removing them from the scene of the city is a catastrophic decision, right? Here's why. Look at Rome. Rome developed around vendors, right? London is a vendor city. Manchester is a vendor city. New York itself, these are vendor cities, right? They developed around the vendor. You have to understand that the vendor is also a customer to OK. I don't think a vendor will affect OK that much. You just need to understand that the vendor brings the footfall to the town. The vendor is the footfall that comes to the town and come through those doors. Guess what? After selling all those things, right, they will go into OK and buy a bar of geisha or whatever they buy from there. They still buy there. They bring people right to the mouth of the shop, right? You just have to look at it innovatively. If I was a CEO for OK or CFO, which I'm not, I would actually prepare some areas outside of them and I don't have any business to do with tomatoes. Give them the tomatoes and say, sell my tomatoes. Guess what? They'll bring the footfall to the shop, right? We also have to look at the issue that we were talking about, the criminal activity and all this kind of stuff, right? Right. If I look at it with the mind, I look at what brings them there, right? Number one, you find these people, these money changers. Who is giving these money changers money to come to the OK doors and all these supermarket doors? Where are they getting the money? Right? Who is supplying these drugs that you're talking about? Because a vendor does not have a financial capacity to bring masses of drugs. Who is bringing them? What's the source? That's what you need to look at, right? I don't personally. I wouldn't think, even just based on research, that a vendor on the street will have the financial power to bring drugs that you're talking about into the street. Of course, there might be at the tail end of the value chain, but if you're really talking about a drug problem, then you have a problem that is much bigger than someone who's selling it. Where is it coming from? That's what we should look at, right? So organizing them, I am for that because it's good, but build the city around the vendor. You will see great transformation. I sit on a panel where we talk about smart cities. People are talking digital technology. People, the city will change its face and everything, right? Yes, it's changed. They're changing faces. Cities, they're changing faces. They're no longer selling clothes because they sell clothes online. But what I see, what do you see in these cities? It's markets that make them thrive. I'm sure a lot of people. I mean, I'm sorry to just use an example which is maybe far removed from our country, but I think it should be brought into our country. Every Wednesday, Friday, you find these big cities: Oxford, Cambridge, Manchester, Birmingham. They have markets, right? Makeshift markets where people come and sell at the center of the city, right? Bringing the footfall into the city. So design the city around these people. You see the transformation, which is amazing. So to actually, we should have a registered vendor association, respected, because they bring the footfall to the city, right? As we transform our cities, we should make sure that we encourage the vendor to be at the center of the city. So the design should really, in my view, or the focus of the government should be at promoting these individuals, understand their way of life. What do they do? Where do they come from? What do they bring to the city? They are the people. I'm the vendor by day, but I'm also your customer. I'm also a city dweller. So just understand people, design the environment to suit your population. I think that that's a more innovative way to deal with it, because removing a problem from my house, yes, I've removed it out of sight, right? If I put it elsewhere, it remains a problem. So you have to deal with it in a way that is very thoughtful. That's what I think. Anyway, yeah, thanks.